So welcome, everybody. It's nice to have you here. I had said earlier that I think we're going to be a little small today. We've got mamas out of town visiting family in different places that are not going to be able to join us today. So, and I'm not sure how it's going to go from my end either, because I have grandma duties. So, which is the best. You want to see real fast? Oh, hold on. There we go. There's the newest little one. That's Rebecca. She's so sweet. And Emma just went down for a nap. So anyway, oh, so much fun. And my husband just left yesterday, but he got to spend 4 days with us here too. So that was wonderful. All right, so we are in April. So what does that mean for you mamas? What are you studying? What are you working on? What are you doing? You guys have lots of time to share what has been working for you, or just what you're adding for yourself mostly. And but we talk about family too, things are working for our families. Carolina, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to share?
Yeah, well, I've been studying about Abraham Lincoln. Oh, yes. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, she's kind of talking. I feel really fortunate because my daughter is 18 months and I'm pregnant with another baby, but I feel like I have a lot of, I guess, time, I would say, right now to actually get stuff done. So a little bit about me. I'm an immigrant to the United States, and I have like no clue about American history. So I just started diving deep with Abraham Lincoln. I don't know why it resonated with me and I wanted to study about him. And Lori recommended a couple books, and I'm almost done with the other one by Tim Ballard wow, I'm like mind blown.
Yeah, but that's a fabulous book.
Oh, I know. It's been incredible. So I've just been, I don't know, really inspired. I've been trying to watch the Lincoln movie with my husband. He loves American history, so he's been really helpful. But it's been, I don't know, there's just so much about him. I just feel the name of the book. Oh, I have to get it. I think it's Abraham. Let me see. I have it right here.
It's the Lincoln hypothesis. So this is the Washington hypothesis. There's the Pilgrim's hypothesis, and then Lincoln. So that's what Caroline is talking about, is the Lincoln hypothesis.
Yes. And I don't know if everybody's LDS here, but
so far this morning, yes.
Okay. Well, he just makes a really interesting connection between Abraham Lincoln and Joseph Smith. They were born a couple years apart, and they were in certain areas at the same time, not at the same time, but a couple years apart, like Springfield, Missouri. And it's just, he makes like this hypothesis. So he kind of brings up, like, you have to kind of come to the conclusion yourself of what you think of these things, but just interesting connections of how inspired everything was of putting Joseph Smith and Abraham Lincoln here on this, in this nation at the right time. And I just keep thinking the times today, everything that's going on. And I keep wondering, I don't know. He kind of mentions it in the book, like, obviously God is not going to leave this nation behind, and he will bring leaders that will be inspired to, fulfill the promises that were made here. So, and he talks about the covenant that God made with this nation. I don't know. It's honestly incredible. I became a citizen in 2017, and I feel like such a huge privilege to be in this, here in this country. So it's just been very inspiring for me, because I feel like, okay, the Lord led me here for a specific purpose, responsibility that I have to protect the nation and to protect the Constitution and all these things that I'm slowly starting to learn about, which I don't know that much of. But anyway, it's been really good. So I feel like I might be more into the American history side for a little bit in the well-educated heart. There's just not enough time to study everything. So for now, I'm just going to study about these men and the founding fathers. And I don't know, I'm just very inspired by it. So it's been really interesting.
I love that you have that desire to learn about those things. I love that. And Lindsay Watkins asked you where you're from. And I know, but I want, if you'd share, that'd be great.
Oh, I'm from Argentina. So if you guys know anything about probably not Argentine history, it's very, it's a disaster right now. It's very socialist and a little bit communist. The president right now is talking with the Venezuelan president. They're trying to make some connections there. So it's just not going down. And I have my whole family there, all my friends, everybody. So it's really interesting for them right now. And I'm like, my mom hates it here. She always wants to go back, but I am so grateful that I'm here. It's honestly a miracle that we're here. And the church led my parents here in a way. They're converts, but through missionary friends, they're here. So I just feel very, very blessed to be here right now.
And I think that there are reasons why people are brought to where they're brought. Like you said, there's things that the Lord wants you to do. And it might be things with your family and how you raise your children and what they learn about, what their foundation is, as we go on to teach this next generation and prepare them for what's to come. So I love that. My daughter-in-law's family is all in Brazil. We saw them when we arrived, and they went back to Brazil Monday. And they've been taking in a lot of the refugees from Venezuela. So that is what's been going on there. Her father has been very much a part of that, arranging for apartments for them to stay in and having members donate furniture and bedding and clothing and all kinds of things like that. So that's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You don't really realize it until, I mean, I feel like I can see both sides of it. Mm-hmm. So I feel like sometimes when I hear my peers, my age, so I don't know, attacking the United States and just saying so many negative things, no idea what it's like. I mean, there's no freedom to do anything down there. I mean, people are losing everything. They don't have the freedom to teach their children, all these things. I mean, I feel like, wow, it's a privilege that you can even homeschool here, because that is not allowed. So the fact that we have all these freedoms, I mean, I'm just realizing like, wow, we need to defend this. Like, this is so important to be able to defend this, because it's just so sad to see, what's happening in other countries, and it's crazy.
Right. Well, and that covenant you talked about earlier, that covenant that God made with his children and made with this land, this promised land of America, that is important. And it is something to be cherished, to be grateful for, to take advantage of those freedoms that we do have. But then also to help the rest of the world learn and see, okay, this is possible. You can do this. Anyway, and it's something mostly for us. For a while, I was very much concerned and trying to figure out, what can I do? How do I save the Constitution? How do I do these things? And then I realized, okay, in many situations, the woman's role really is to continue to nurture and teach and train that next generation. And so that is what we can do. And that will make an incredible difference. That is how you change a nation, is through the mothers and them teaching the children. So I love that. I love that we're part of that. Okay. It's really nice to have you with us, Carolina. I'm really glad you joined us. Okay, other mamas, what do you have? What have you been learning about or thinking about or realizing? What things have been going on? Oh, and Carolina, for you, we're very comfortable with pauses here. We need time sometimes to think about what it is we want to share. And so we never feel uncomfortable about that. Our conversations often get started by just one person's little comment that they, I'm sure, thought was some just tiny little thing, and it ends up sparking a discussion. Oh, this really is the best thing ever. That just contact with the little baby head. Oh, you guys get to see Amanda. Okay, come on over. There's just a few moments. Hello. So this is Amanda. This is my sweet, sweet daughter-in-law. Okay, she's gonna steal the baby.
Change the diaper.
All right. So Amanda, Carolina, which you can't see her right now, she's right here. She came from Argentina.
Oh,
So, yeah, she was just talking about learning about the country and becoming a citizen and all that.
Yeah.
So
it's a little complicated.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
it's so sweet. Oh, I love her. She became a citizen too a year and a half ago, I think. So it's interesting, really, ladies, to have this perspective of Carolina, or for me with Amanda, to have people who really do know both sides and they understand what a great situation we're in, even with the problems that we have. So it kind of is helpful to put things in perspective. Okay, I'm reading this one now. This is the last of the hypothesis books that I'm reading. So that's been enjoyable. I reread A Man Called Ova because I'd read that a few years ago, and the movie coming out reminded me. I watched the one with the subtitles. I liked that because I wanted the original feel of the movie. Anyway, so I just reread the beginning and the end of the book the other day because I love that book. It's just so heartwarming. Have any of you read that? I'm guessing Lindsay, maybe you have.
I started it and then life happened, but I still have the book. I just unpacked it and I was like, oh, that's one I need to go back and finish reading. But I saw the movie and that kind of spurred me to, I'm like, okay, I don't want to watch the movie until I read the book because they are going to be a little bit different. But no, it's heartwarming. This move has been so hard. It took a lot of prayer and a lot of fasting and a lot of panic attacks, and on a lot of our parts. My little boy lives in ignorant bliss and we are all jealous of him because the rest of us just stress out. And we were here and we still were like, you need a question because we were led here. Like our whole world got turned upside down. We weren't looking to move cross country again. And we got here and we were still stressed out. And so we just were like, you know what, let's just go to Arizona to be with family for Easter. And it was such a healing trip. Like animosity between family members that we usually have were just gone. And it was such a healing trip for all of us. And then we got to come and we're like, oh, we hope it feels like home when we get there, because we're still having a hard time just feeling like it was home. Moving from Tennessee, where it's green and beautiful and everything, is a hard change to come to Utah. And I just kept wrestling with the Lord going, are you sure you sent me to the right spot? But it has just, we came home and now we're just like, okay, everything feels like it just is fitting. And so and coming here, I had prayed for just a better homeschool group for my kids, just a better community, because in Tennessee we were so spread out and the community was just so far and wide and it was hard to get together. And I've had people from Mothers of Influence groups here reaching out going, oh, we heard you were coming. And I'm like, what? And they are coming out of the woodwork. So like I've been invited to 2 different Mothers of Influence groups. I got invited to a homeschooling group here, and 7 kids are moving in directly across the street from me and they all homeschool. And it's just this huge community that is just exactly what I've been praying for my family. And I'm like, okay, we're here for a reason. He knew where we needed to be. And to me, that has just softened my heart going, okay, if we just follow what he says, he does know what he's doing. And I'm a fighter. So I've really learned what wrestling with the Lord means. But it's just falling into place. And now I feel like my heart is healing in a way I didn't know I needed it to. And so I'm happy to be here. And you guys are all closer to me now, or I'm closer to you. So hopefully we get to see each other.
I love that that's how this has gone for you. And not that struggling so much, except that at the same time, I know that good things come from those struggles. I'm learning and accepting that now. So I love that you've had all of these little tender experiences associated with the difficult move.
Yeah.
So, and how wonderful that people are looking for you to come. I mean, waiting for you to get here. I love that.
From people, I'm like, I've never even heard of you or how we're connected. And it's like, oh, I've heard from 3 different people, but we knew you were coming. And I'm like, what?
I love it.
So,
I love it. No, it's a wonderful community. It's so good to be a part of it. And
yeah.
I love that you have been placed in this right where you need to be. And I think that the more we know our Heavenly Father and the Savior, the more easily we trust and let go of the things that we're trying to make happen. I just was having a discussion with my son yesterday about a topic that's probably coming up at some point here soon, having my father-in-law come and live with us or us go to him, or I don't know. And there are options there that I don't want at all, and other things that are the way that I think makes the most sense, but knowing my experiences with the Lord, I'm going to get to do the one that I don't want to do at all, that is at the bottom of my list. So I'm in the middle of that wrestling, and I'm pretty good. I can hold my own for a while, and that's not very smart, actually. I'd be so much smarter if I just, gave in and said, all right, I give. But I'm not good at that.
Neither am I.
And you can see it in other people's lives sometimes. You watch something happen and you can see the struggle, but you can see the good, and you wish that you had helped them see the good. But I don't know. We have to do it for ourselves, I guess. But I do have that knowledge. I do, at least I'm to the point where I have things that I really don't want, but I know that if it comes down to that, then that is the thing I will do, and it will be the wisest thing. I just because I can't see it doesn't mean that it's not. So
Growth is painful.
I know.
It really is. It's so painful. Because I think it's more painful when you don't realize how complacent you can become. And that's the growth that we're dealing with, is we didn't realize how complacent and isolated we had really become, because there wasn't like I said, there wasn't a lot of kids. There wasn't a lot of homeschool. There were, but they were further away. And it was just, we didn't realize it. Now we're like right here in the thick of it. And I'm like, oh, I guess I just didn't realize that I was just existing. I wasn't thriving. I was just surviving. And so it'll be interesting to see where this all goes.
Right. No, and I love that you said that too, because the fact that you're in this wonderful place with support and a family moving in across all these things are wonderful. At the same time, they're going to require more from you, which is another part of every situation is going to be different and require some growth and change. And you can choose to be complacent, right? In this situation too, but he's giving you these opportunities. I love that. I love what Melanie said over here. Melanie, are you able to come on or no? Because I'll read it if you cannot, and I'll wait for you if you can to share your thoughts. Just checking. Hang on. Okay, so Melanie says, thanks for sharing. This is interesting food for thought. My husband was approached about a job opportunity that might be better for a few reasons, but none of us actually wants to move. Yeah, where we are feels best for other reasons, and we're struggling to know how seriously to take the possible opportunity. Yeah. Oh, those are tough little moments. You look back and they are moments, but when you're in it, it just feels so big. And you want to do the right thing, but you have the things you want, and it's just tough, really tough. Okay, so look who joined us. We get to see Cassie for a minute. That's awesome. And Cassie, now I've seen some pictures. She's got her 2 little girls, and now her little boy is actually not a baby anymore. He's a little toddler, and he's darling. Just so fun seeing you and your families. I love it. Cassie's over on the coast, central coast of California, just for those of you who don't know. Anyway, other thoughts, ideas? Mary?
I'll share. I don't know if I'll turn my camera on. I'm kind of laying on the couch. My
No
voice
worries,
is
no
kind of gone.
worries.
But as Lindsay was talking, I was like, oh yeah, last week I was able to meet with someone posted in the Mothers of Influence Utah group on the Mighty Network. You know, is anyone looking for, is there a group in Orem, Utah, which is where I live? And two people reached out, and then I was able to meet with, there's a play group that they have. There's also a discussion group that's in Provo that I might go to, but so I met with some ladies at a park for a play group last Friday, and so I got to visit with them while the kids played. I'm in the park, and so I look forward to connecting with them more and learning more from them, and yeah, kind of nice.
That's exciting. Good for you. That's really good. I hope that works out for you. I know moms get so anxious to connect and meet with other moms. And if you connect and you don't, if you meet up with another family and you don't connect right off, don't be discouraged. Just be prayerful, be kind, see if it blossoms and becomes something, and also be willing to move on and continue looking, because it doesn't always work out and you don't always match up, and that's all right too.
Yeah, there was about, I think, four or five moms there. One of them had to chase the 18-month-old around, so I didn't get to talk to them. I think there was at least four besides me, and then there was a couple that weren't able to make it. So it's a pretty good sized group.
That's so fun. I remember just doing play dates at the park with other moms, and I loved that. It was a good positive thing. And how nice that would be if that had been a group of moms that were able to talk about the things they were learning about, like what we talk about. That is just adds so much more for you as the mom, to feed you, to nurture your heart. So I hope you are looking for those opportunities. And for some of you, I know it just takes a long time. There just doesn't seem to be anybody out there. And that's why we do the virtual thing, because you can still make a connection, even though you aren't able to do one in person right now. So that's all right.
One more thing, I've also been asked to speak in church in a few weeks on Elder Uzdorf's talk. And I know that people have posted about that, at least in the Facebook group, about the quote where he says, about watering a little bit at a time instead of trying to flood your children. And so that's kind of exciting opportunity to talk about. I'm like, how can I bring the well-educated heart stuff into that? And like some of the stuff I've learned from Gordon Neufeld.
Right, right. Because that talk is so full of well-educated heart principles. So that's neat. How fun that you get to be the one to talk about it. I love it. Okay, Cassie, I don't know, for those of you who don't know, Cassie has a Facebook little group that she encourages moms. She's been doing, how long have you been doing that, Cassie? I don't know if you can even say. I know you texted something in the chat, but. And I don't remember offhand what the name of it is, but I love that you do that, Cassie. I love that you're out there supporting moms and being an influence for good in that way. I think that's great. Okay, anybody else? Ideas or thoughts? I'm just gonna, while we're waiting, share this book with you too. Have any of you read this one? 7 Miracles That Saved America. I had my kids read it. It's by Chris and Ted Stewart. I will, my apologies to Chris and Ted Stewart or anybody who knows them. I do think the stories are too long. I think in an effort to make the book longer or more substantial or something, they really tried to build up the stories. They're simple stories that can really hold their own just because of the beautiful miracles that happened within these stories, but the stories themselves are good. So I recommend them to you to read, but if you want to share them with your children, I would definitely just summarize But beautiful book, beautiful stories. And since we're doing American history, and that seems to be something that is very important to everybody, even if you just wanted to do a chapter, I'll just share a little bit. It's got the miracle of Christopher Columbus and the discovery of the New World. And from what we know that's a miracle. The miracle at Jamestown, the miracle of a summer fog. Who knows what that one is? That I'm trying to remember now. It is either the one with George Washington when the fog came in on the Delaware and they were able to get away, or that must be that one, because I think these kind of go in order history. But
Hey, Lori,
yes,
can I share something? Let me turn my
yes,
camera on.
please.
When I got married, where's my video? A teacher that I taught with, she gave me a children's book of that.
Oh,
The 7 Miracles That Saved American Illustrated History. So they're going to be a lot shorter.
wonderful.
So there is a children's version. I've actually never read the other one, but yeah.
The
so that one
children's
you're just
version
looking
would
at,
probably be more
the
my
summer
style.
fog. Yeah, the summer fog. It was when it was just on that one. It was where the fog came in. So yeah, they were able to cross somewhere. I read this
Yeah.
once, but anyway.
Yeah, I think it's the Delaware. I think they were able to cross
So-
the Delaware and the British did not see them or hear them. And then the fog went away and they were gone. They just vanished into thin air. That is wonderful. I am so happy to know that there's a children's version. Okay, I was thinking, oh, please don't tell me that Chris or Ted or your brother or something, because I love the fact that they wrote the book. I love that the stories are out there. They're just a little long. Okay, and then the miracle of our Constitution, which of course we know that, but this is the fact that you can find a book like this and that it can give you, mama, a foundation of history that you probably either didn't learn when you were in high school or you don't remember, right? And you can go back and have a little bit of a foundation there. The next one is Abraham Lincoln and the Battle of Gettysburg, which is just near and dear to my heart. That whole story is absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if you know, but a mom just posted one of the prayers the other day in the Mighty Network, but she posted a prayer that Abraham Lincoln had given, and he was talking to a general after a battle or something. And he had told the general, I wasn't worried about you or something, because when I had heard that this was happening, I went into a room, I closed or locked the door or something, and I knelt and I prayed to God, and this is what I prayed for. And he had done a similar thing with the Battle of Gettysburg, or maybe that is the same battle. I don't know, because I don't remember who the general was there. But anyway, in any case, I love the story of that. And I love the Gettysburg Address. I love everything surrounding that. I was reading in the Lincoln Hypothesis about that event. And just the idea that here he is standing up and talking to this crowd of 25,000 people. And one of the points it makes is that he had this, kind of realization or understanding that the 25,000 people he's addressing are just half the number of those that had died there on that field. So that would have definitely made an impact as well. Anyway, then the miracle at Midway, the miracle of a fraction of an inch, why America matters. So highly recommend for us moms who really want to have that background. And then I'm going to read this one while I'm here, at least thumb through it. And I don't know if it's any good or not, but I love the books that I'm finding in this house, but it's the Founding Mothers. So that's interesting to me. The women who raised our nation. I love that. I love that that's the little phrase there underneath that. So, and I'm reading Abraham Lincoln's biography right now, the one by Carl Sandburg. And for those of you who don't know, originally that was like a 6-volume biography, I think. Carl Sandburg, what I've always read is his is the best biography of Lincoln that has been written. And so it's what I wanted to read. I'd read other books on Abraham Lincoln, and I have this great love and appreciation for him. And but I've always wanted to read these, but I'm pretty sure there are 4 volumes that are the Prairie Years and 2 that are the war years. I think that's how it has been set up, but it was redone after that. And I didn't know that. And so there's another version that are 2 volumes. One is the Prairie Years and the other is the War Years, and it's a little shorter. So yeah, Carolina is reading it right now. So she just commented, it's so good, very detailed, but I love it. I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. So I love that we can share books here too. So be sure to do that. If you've read something that just was beautiful, was inspiring, doesn't matter if it's in the right month or not, we still share our resources because our mother hearts need those positive, good messages. Oh, speaking of that, hold on, I have to get it. Where did I put it? Okay, and I don't know if you can see these paintings behind me, but they're just lovely. There's just so many pretty things here. It's so nice. And then on the wall that you can't see, and this computer monitor is broken, so if I move it, it'll fall. But on the wall just right there is a Pissarro painting. It's just like, it's an original and it's so beautiful. And I just love it. Okay, this book, The Life-Giving Home. We are studying this as Mothers of Influence. Yeah, we're studying this year. So we're going month by month. So this last year, in March, Marley and I hosted a discussion talking about the month of March that's in this book. They go by months. There are a couple chapters in the beginning, and then part 2 is Seasons of Home, and it goes just monthly. So this month, next Friday, we're going to be talking about it again. So the schedule, so we've got some scheduling issues. Marley's out of town. She cannot do the discussion on Wednesday, which will be our normal day to do the discussion, probably like the 3rd Wednesday of the month. But she cannot, so we have to move it to Friday. So it will actually take the place of this meeting. I'm going to go ahead and cancel next Friday's meeting because I cannot do both while I'm trying to take care of my grandmother responsibilities. So it'll be at noon in the Mighty Networks, and don't ask me which time. I can't remember if it's Pacific time or Mountain time. Does anyone happen to remember?
Mountain.
It's Mountain.
It says Mountain time.
Okay, so 12 noon Mountain time next Friday. So I just can't do a 10 to 11 and then an 11 to 12 on that day while I'm up here. So we will not have this meeting next Friday, but please, if you are not in the Mighty Network, do what you need to do. Finish watching those videos in Catch the Vision. If you do Catch the Vision, that Catch the Vision course from beginning to end, watching all the videos, reading the little articles, doing the things that are all included in there, it'll take about 17 hours. So you do that, and then there's a little fee, a $25 fee that gets you a packet of some beautiful supportive materials and things, and a little Mothers of Influence pin. And then you gain an invitation to enter the Mighty Network platform, where we have a lovely group there of women who are kind of stepping up their learning about Mothers of Influence. So it's lovely, and it's not overpowering. It is not crazy like Facebook. You are in one little group, and it's just us, nobody else, and it's lovely. Do you like it, Lindsay? Are you in there?
Mighty Networks.
Yes, you are.
I am.
Do you like it? How do you feel about it?
I do. I actually like it because I find myself going to that one instead of worrying about Facebook, because then you get distracted with all the Facebook junk that's on there. So I like that it's just concentrated to just that. And I can go to, like, if I just want to look at the Utah, what's going on up here. But yeah, and I know that's all that's going to be in there. It's not all distracting things. So no, it's a great network.
I'm glad you like it. I like it too. I'm sorry, I talked over you.
No, I said I would just highly recommend going through the Catch the Vision and getting into it, because if you're trying to just subtract noise out of your life, go over there, because like I said, it's not noise. It's just beautiful, wholesome stuff that you're like, I know I'm not gonna turn that network off or that app off and go, okay, I just wasted 10 minutes. I actually felt like okay, I just got a little boost of something, or I learned something, or I got a book recommendation. Yeah, it's just, I'm just trying to subtract noise. So I love that it's separate now.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that's how you feel about it. I also think there's a positive in maybe a mother is asking a question or asking for ideas or help, and you might be able to answer and give her an idea, a thought, a resource. And that always feels good too. And Carolina, are you still there? Are you able to give some input about your thoughts about the Mighty Network?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Yes, I mean, I love it. I'm trying to take a social media break. So I actually, in the Life Giving Home, there, I think the daughter did like a 30-day like social media, try to get out of everything. So that's where I was kind of inspired by it. But it's just, I mean, people share stuff every day, whether it's like a poem or a piece of art or something that's working for them. So I've been very inspired, and then you can message people. And so it's just a nice little place to, get to know other moms and be able to build that network. So it's been really nice.
Good. Okay. I am curious to know if anybody else has thoughts, what they think, if there's good or bad. I would be interested in knowing how you feel about it. I also do like that there are the state groups, so you can sign up for your state, or if there's another state that you visit regularly, or you have a sister that's there or a friend that you're trying to get connected and involved, you can check out the other states that are pertinent to you. But anyway, then you can look and see what's going on in your state. Hey, Mary.
I like it because I don't do Facebook on my phone, but I'll do Mighty Networks on my phone. So it's nice. I can just check in, see if there's any new posts, any good stuff I want to read or look through. And I've shared a couple things that I've watched. And so yeah, I'm more apt to share on that than Facebook because, well, partly I think it's because my computer's outdated and I couldn't post stuff for a while on Facebook. I'm like, I'll just do Mighty Networks anyway. All right, the sun's really bright out here, but I need some sunshine.
Good. I'm glad that you had that you like it, that it works for you. I feel like it's not overwhelming and it's just all positive, and so I like it. And like Lindsay said, I don't ever feel guilty when I shut it down, like I've wasted time. It's been a positive. So that's what we're hoping, is that it's just something that adds. And yes, Carolina, the events have been awesome. So they have events usually on Wednesdays. They'll have an event. They'll bring a guest on to a Zoom. And the last one was Marlene's son-in-law, and he was talking about his growing up in where did he grow up, ladies? Oh,
Rwanda?
Pardon?
Rwanda.
Rwanda. Thank you. Yes. And just the kind of life that he led, his experiences, which are incredible, and then where he is today. And for me, it was so profound. I spent hours the next few days just thinking about that conversation and thinking about my life, my opportunities, my blessings. So it was wonderful. And then the one before that was flower arranging. So my friend Emily, she had her mom come and they did this beautiful class on flower arranging. There's just been so many fun and different classes. So that's been a lovely thing too. And then there are other discussions being planned, but it's all trying to be very respectful of mothers and their time. And all of those events are also recorded and they're put on there for a couple of weeks. So if you want to be able to review that, take a look at it, you can. So hopefully it is not a burden. That's the thing, is we don't want it to be a burden on anybody. It just is supposed to be something positive, encouraging, helpful, good. So that's good. All right. Any other recommendations of things you've done, read, listened to, experienced, resources that you've run across that have been very helpful for you or for your family, or just insights that you've had about something in your life? Oh, kind of nice, huh? Oh, a little Zen moment. Actually, I don't know what your backgrounds are like, but mine happens to be very quiet in the moment. It's weird. And I don't know if you're able to talk, but Laura Pollock, are you able to talk? Sometimes her background is a little bit noisy. She's just got, oh, yep. Okay.
It's noisy, but I'm here.
Okay, Lindsay, it's so good to see you. No, Laura, I just wanted to see if you had other thoughts after, because you shared such beautiful things last week about your experiences there with your in-laws and taking care of your sister-in-law's little ones for her for a week. I just wondered if you've had other thoughts about that. Maybe its impact on your children, on your family, on you, just anything.
Not so much anything more, but I thought interesting what Lindsay Watkins shared about going to family and how that was a healing Easter. I thought, oh my gosh, it was a very healing Easter for us too. I wonder, what a coincidence that, going and then have it be a very healing relationship, family experience.
Yeah.
That very, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I don't have anything more profound.
No, I love that. I love that there's that connection there.
Yeah. I've also, let's see, what's her name? Carolina. And the Abraham Lincoln. I got home and I was like, because we've been gone since March. So it's the 14th. And I finally was like, okay, what's our April topic? And I was like so excited to have it be Abraham Lincoln because I have books that I've been waiting to read. And as you said, Carl Sandburg, is that who you said?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
went and looked on my book. One of my books is like Abraham Lincoln as a growing up kid. And so I'm excited to read. I'm excited. This has been a wonderful discussion, just very inspiring and exciting to go and learn and do. So
Good. Oh, I'm glad. I do highly encourage you mamas to read about him for yourselves and definitely introduce him to your children. I am feeling this very, I don't even know. I don't know where this is going to go. I have no idea. Maybe it's just for me, but I don't think so. I'm feeling this responsibility to somehow share with our youth the truth about history, the truth about this country and how it came to be. Because if they've had that taught to them through any other means, any public education or things out there, unless they had a teacher who was one of those wonderful teachers, and they're definitely out there, who wants to share with the kids something more than just the standard that they are supposed to teach. Most of them haven't heard the truth and they haven't heard all the beautiful, wonderful things, and I love that our country was founded by people who are imperfect, just like me and just like you. And that even with their imperfections, they were able to listen to the call and do the things that God needed them to do. And I love that. There are so many brave and good people who did good and important and necessary things. And to teach our children about that, and our youth and children about that, and to teach them that God had a hand in all of that. I want them to know that. I feel like that's very important. And so I've just been devouring these books, and I'm starting with the youth that I mentor. So there are 5 of them right now. There's a 6th one, I think, coming on. And we are practicing right now. We are using a simple book called Mathematicians Are People Too, and we're reading the stories, and I'm trying to get them to share via Marco Polo their insights from the stories, and that is our practice. So we're going to get good at the sharing, and then we are going, I think we're doing the American Covenant. I think that book by Timothy Ballard, I think that's where we're headed. And so I need to be ahead of them. But just like I teach mamas, all you have to do is be 1 chapter ahead of your kids. That's it. You don't have to have read the whole book. You don't have to have philosophized about the book and what it means to you or anything. You just stay one chapter ahead, or maybe half a chapter, but you can do it. You can do it. It's not as hard as sometimes we make it out to be, but that's where my plan with these kids is, to help them understand, no, it wasn't a mistake. And no, these aren't bad people. And no, we don't go put them away or put the books away or take away these stories. These are important. This is something you need to understand and learn, that there is a purpose for all of this. And this idea about there being a covenant still with God and us, the people who live on this continent, who live in America, who live in the promised land. So I'm really excited about that. Like I said, I really don't know exactly where it's going, and I imagine we'll do that with Pinehurst too, so that when we start up again in September, I mean, we're still going, but when September starts and we're going like officially, I think that's where we're headed. I think that's going to be part of it. So anyway, sorry for that long thing. It's just personal, but.
I have a thought. It's kind of related to kind of what we've discussed a bit on and off since I've been on. This week, I've had two thought-provoking experiences. One was we had a play date at the park, which was wonderful. We had maybe 5 moms come with their children, and one all ages, one other one homeschool, just kind of between newborn and 11 maybe, and all backgrounds and personalities. And when we got home, my 9-year-old said, "Mom, why don't you teach me what other kids that would be in my grade know?" And I was like, "Oh no, what am I slacking on?" And I said, "Like what?" And she goes, "Like how to use a cell phone for when I get my own, or like I actually don't really know what hell is." Pardon the term, but I'm quoting her. And I looked at her and I said, "I don't think either of those are things you're actually taught in 3rd grade." We had to explain. I kind of thought it was interesting that she hadn't learned what people thought hell was. Apparently I was slacking in different faith religions, but so we talked about what people, what hell means, and we talked about cell phones and brain development, and different families have different rules. Some kids need cell phones because they're not with their families or they're getting picked up by someone else in different situations. And I just thought it was so interesting that that's what she felt she was missing out on by going to the park for a few hours with a diverse group. And kind of was like, oh, okay, like I probably should have more play dates so they're a little more, so we can have more of those conversations that would come up that I wouldn't think to bring up without a prompt. And so yeah, I thought that was interesting. And the second one was, I have a friend, I think I've mentioned her on here, that has been struggling this year with some health issues. She's had some heart issues, and she was able to get a monitor on for a few weeks to monitor what was going on with her heart so they could figure out how to help her. And with the monitor, it measures everything the whole time. But when she was realizing there was something going on with her heart, she was supposed to like hit a button so they would like tag it and be like, "Hey, pay attention." And when she got it back, they made a note that most of the concerning episodes with her heart, she didn't even realize were happening when they were happening. Most of the stuff that she recognized weren't like life concerning heart issues, but she had no idea when like the intense stuff was happening in her heart. And it made me think so much about like, I think maybe it was Lindsay was talking about like complacency. We don't realize how complacent we are sometimes. And I think in our own, like, I agree with that. We don't realize sometimes how complacent we are. And that's why it's important to listen to the spirit and even check in with trusted others and be like, "Hey, how do you think I'm doing here? Because I'm not sure." And use those trusted sources that know you well and can help give you feedback that you can reflect on and
make those choices for your home and your family and whatnot. So those are just some thoughts I had this week, but yeah.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, Melissa. I like when you make those connections. Yeah, complacency is is such a real thing. And I think your idea of kind of asking the people right close around you, I'm thinking just our family, our immediate, intimate family members, just kind of checking in with them too. Obviously checking in with Heavenly Father, but with them too. So welcome, Lindsay Bunting. She's been checking on her sister-in-law who's due to have a baby, apparently, maybe today. That's so exciting. That's awesome. Wonderful. We've had a lovely discussion. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hate that I just got the last 5 minutes, but I didn't want to miss even that part. So
Yeah, and look, Cassie came back. We've got Cassie, which is fun. And then Carolina. So you didn't get to meet Carolina, but she's there. Maybe you'll get to see her face for a second, but she is in California with us. She's just down toward San Diego, Murrieta. So that's really
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, there she is.
Hey, hello.
Definitely going to have to do a get together with anybody who wants to come.
I know that would be so fun. We've got all these new temples popping up. I don't know if everybody on here is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but I know like Murrieta is getting a temple, and we're like all these temples are announced. I think we should all just go like temple open house hop together, go to all of them.
Here we go.
There we go. To give us a reason to get together.
Right. Oh, that'd be super fun. And then for any of the ladies who pop on here later and are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because we've got a whole bunch of different people from different places, but those open houses, I don't know if you ladies know, but when there's an open house, that is open for anybody in the community to go to. And that is so much fun to get to go inside and see what they look like. They are beautiful. You get to see the different rooms, and there are guides that walk you through and talk to you about the different things that happen in the temples. So that's a neat experience. I love to take friends. Well, I am in baby heaven up here. So just in case anybody wanted to know, it's just been so much fun. I love it. I'm tired. I'm super tired. But aside from that, it's amazing. And it snowed yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, I walked up. I woke up, walked out. I had no idea. The curtains in this room are just dark. I don't know. I hadn't opened them, I guess. Anyway, I walked out to the other room and the curtains are all open and there's just snow everywhere. It was beautiful. It didn't last, but that was kind of magical and fun because I haven't been dealing with it all winter. So I loved it. Ida, now that you're on the ground, do you want to chat for a minute? Share whatever thoughts are in your cute head?
Sure, I'll chat. It's interesting listening to this conversation and just thinking about how hang on, let me set my stuff down. I just came in the house. Thinking about how I kind of see like people becoming more and more interested and focused on the past history, right? People who are hearts are sensitive, because I feel like even just it's kind of silly, but just clothes everywhere. Just today I was listening to this. There's this guy on Facebook. He has a YouTube channel, and he cooks all these old recipes, like from really old cookbooks that he finds, and he cooks the recipes and tries them out and sees how they taste. And I just thought it was, and he talks about other things that he likes that are like, he likes old things. He's a younger guy. And but lots of people, I guess, not just in my circle of friends, but like you were talking about, like the importance of sharing the past, sharing history, the truth, right? And appreciating the wisdom of people in the past, and I felt like that a lot. Like in my circle of friends, we have our kids are in this co-op, and they're doing like Lemmy classes. So they're learning about like all kinds of different things. But one of the things they did this last week is they went to a farm of a lady that's in a neighboring community, but she has like goats and chickens, and I don't know, she's had a cow and whatever. But the kids went there and they were just so inspired. All my kids went. I didn't get to go, but I wanted to. But they were like so inspired by all these things that this woman was doing, and then looking at our land and being like, what can we do, Mom? We could have goats, or we could do this. And I'm like, I want to go live with her so I can learn all of her wisdom and learn about the things that she's doing and how that she's making all that work, But I feel like it's like the spirit of Elijah, like turning the hearts of the children to their fathers, and hearts of the fathers to the children too. Really, like there's this feeling, that we need answers, and we're looking for wisdom from the past because the people in the past had wisdom. And I guess I felt that in my life a lot. But like I maybe it's studying the Old Testament, coming from that, and like learning so much wisdom, and I don't know, like all of that kind of thing. So I feel like my heart and my mind has been focused on learning the things that have been forgotten and lost because we thought we could figure out a better way, Anyways, so I just pondering that when you're talking, and then I loved what Melissa shared about the heart. And I think that, we don't realize, I love that we don't really realize when our hearts are like in trouble. And I think it takes sometimes it takes a little bit of a heart attack, right? Before we're like, oh, we have a problem. Hopefully we don't get to that point. Hopefully we're taking care of our hearts and nurturing them. But anyways, some thoughts. I wanted to jump on because I miss you ladies and love always being on here, and I feel always inspired and uplifted. So I'm like, I'm late, but I'm just gonna jump on anyways.
I'm so happy that you did, and I love those thoughts. I love that. And yes, I keep thinking about what Melissa was saying, because that happens to each one of us. We have those times when our hearts situations happen, I don't know, different things, and we get a little bit, we have a little bit of atrophy happening, and if we don't catch it, and somebody who loves us doesn't help us to see that, then it can get bad before we realize. So yeah, that's, don't you feel that too? Because as you continue to nurture and warm your own heart, while we can still have, take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe along our own paths, but you really do start to notice people around you that you hadn't even realized that their hearts have hardened. And now you do, and you can see how much easier their lives would be if they could embrace some of these things that you would love to share and give to them. But all you can do is tell them about it, because they need to do something in order for that softening to happen. Oh.
I have another thought. So I don't know I don't know even who's on here, but in general conference last couple weeks ago now, President Nelson shared something about being a peacemaker, and probably several of you saw that, I don't know, but that talk just hit me hard. Like I was like, ooh, I need to be a peacemaker more. And it kind of hurt. Like, not like my heart was pricked, like it was like, this is something you need to work on. And at first it was very discouraging for me. Like I was like, I don't know. I'm trying, Heavenly Father, and I am failing. And but then I decided I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to that talk again. And I'm going to like really dive deep into that, right? And try to hear the message, even if it's maybe like a little discouraging for me to think about how I can accomplish that. So I did that. Maybe I talked about this. Was I here last week? Did I talk about this with you guys? No. Okay, good. I mean, I guess. Anyways, and so and it was funny. I went to the church and there was two ladies at the church that are from different congregations, wards, and I had conversations with them, both of them at different times, that there was a little bit of tension there, a little bit of contention. And I felt bad about it, but I didn't know what to do about it because I was just like, there's this weirdness, right? The first lady walked past my car, looked into there, smiled, big smile, and waved. And I was like, smiled and waved back. I'm like, hey. And then this other lady happened to be, I went in and I was listening to this talk and taking notes and like just being like, okay, what can I do? And then this other lady was sitting in the foyer and I looked out the little window of the room I was in and I saw her and I was like, I'm just gonna go out and talk to her, just be friendly. And she was talking to another friend of mine and she was like so friendly. And she was like, how President Nelson talked about being a peacemaker. She brought it up just in this conversation. And I was like, yeah, that was so good. And then she was, and I was just trying to be friendly too, and nice. And then she's like, it was so good to see you. And I just haven't seen you in a long time. It was really, really nice to see you. And I was like, thanks. It was good to see you too. But it was so interesting, kind of like clearly some other people heard this and thought I need to do better. Because I'm like, I was feeling it too. You're not alone. And then, but then when I went and read this talk again, there were so many things in there that I was like, okay, these are some things I can do to help me be a peacemaker more. But I feel like right after I had that experience, I could tell that Heavenly Father was talking to me. But then Satan was like, yeah, you're so bad. You are so bad. You need to do a lot of work and like, you can't do it. It was like he got in there so fast. But then when I went back and read the talk again, felt more encouraged and I was like, okay, I'm not perfect. And like the Spirit was like reminding me of other things that were said in conference, beautiful things that happened. And one of the talks talked about a harvest, and this man was trying to harvest their field with his father, and the machine wasn't working very well, wasn't doing a good job harvesting. And the dad's like, just leave it. That's the best this machine can do. And so they harvested, and there was lots of leftover of the crop. And then the birds came and ate the rest of it. And he thought God perfected the harvest, And I think that's what it's like in our lives too, right? We see areas we need to grow in, and that's okay. And Heavenly Father can help us see those, right? And then He's going to help enable and perfect our meager efforts, right? That's as good as we can do at that moment in time, And just another beautiful thing that happened is two of my sons had been thinking about patriarchal blessings, and they'd wanted to get patriarchal blessings. My older son he's 12, and they had a little bit of a discussion about it in one of their classes. And so he was like, I'm thinking about it, Mom. I don't know, should I or shouldn't I? And he's like, I'm going to pray about it. I'm like, that's good, pray about it. And I said, maybe just wait until conference, and maybe you'll get an answer in conference. And he's like, okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. Well, then my other son, who's younger than him, he's actually 10. And he came to us and he's like, Mom, Dad, I want to get my patriarchal blessing. Like, he hadn't talked to us about it at all. We didn't, like, he just came. And we were like, well, you're kind of young. And my husband and I look at each other and we're like, maybe you should wait for general conference and you'll get an answer. So you pray about it and you think about it, and then maybe if you go to a conference with that and listen, you'll get an answer. Well, it was pretty crazy, right? Like 2 talks about patriarchal blessings the last talk that was given about patriarchal blessing was like over 10 years ago. And I was just like, wow. And both my sons were like, okay, mom, yeah, we want to do this. And so they both went and talked to, it was so funny. And so they talked to the bishop on Sunday, and the bishop called us in after, and he's like, so we don't know about Sam. He's kind of young. I think he just needs more life. And I'm the talkative one in our relationship, and Dean is the quiet one. And he doesn't really say a lot, or doesn't know how to like vocalize things, right? So the bishop's trying to say, saying these things, and he's like, so we think, I think he just needs more life experience. And he's like, so, like he understands the gospel, and he understands that patriarchal blessings are important. But like I asked him, like, what does Jesus Christ mean to you? And he was like, didn't know what to say. And so I'm just like looking at my husband, like, what do you think, Dean? And he says, well, I would have a hard time answering that question. So he's like, that's just Sam. But and then he said, this is what happened. It wasn't like he listened to conference and then he had this feeling, I should get my patriarchal blessing. He had been preparing and wanting it, and then this was an answer to his prayer. And so it was so cool, and it was just cool how it all happened. And then he says to me afterwards, my husband, well, were you going to stand up for Sam if I didn't? I'm like, of course, but I felt like you needed to say something, not me. Anyways, and that was like such a beautiful thing that happened. And like all these things that were happening were like blessings and miracles, little tender mercies, answers to prayers, right? And so then I had this other, do this, Ida. And then I'm like, Satan's like, no, you can't do it. You're going to be bad. But then I was like, as I reflect back, that's Satan's, that's his game plan always, Anyways, I'm carrying on too long. So just some thoughts.
Lindsay, did you think that Ida was carrying on too long, or did you absolutely love everything that she said?
I loved it. In fact, I kept telling my kids, please get out of the room so I can listen. Like, you're interrupting my friends. So I was not being a very good peacemaker. So that pricked my heart a little bit too. I was like, I probably should come back and listen to that talk.
But I loved it. I loved all of it. I loved that you felt your heart pricked, and because of that, I love that you had that experience. I don't love that Satan gets in there, but I love that you recognized it, even though it was afterwards, because that's usually when we recognize, oh wait, that was him. That was him. Yeah, Cassie loved it too, Ida.
Listening to the Screw Tape Letters, it really, as I'm listening to that book, I'm thinking, yeah, like I know that's how Satan works. I know that's when he's gonna try to get us when we're vulnerable. Like it kind of just seems like, duh, I know that. But it also makes it like easier to recognize in our own lives like that, when you're like, oh, he snuck in there when I felt like, oh, I need to work on something. Then he goes, oh, I'm going to jump and go, yeah, you do. So yeah, I love that, recognizing that is so good.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to stop listening to that book. It's just on repeat, because it is really helping me recognize him. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just like listen to it little bits at a time. I never quite finish it.
Yeah. No, but you recognize that, and then you see, whoa, it's just kind of a sweet, tender mercy to see that, it's not just me. These other people I know are also realizing, and they're doing something about it. That was so sweet that they're actually taking what he said and doing something, trying to be kinder. And then I have to just say, it was making me cry, you talking about your sons, because I think, what an incredible experience, because you were prompted as the parents to say, why don't you pray about it and wait until conference? Because you could have answered them and said, yes, sure, let's go talk to the bishop. Yes, I feel like you could do that right now, right? And that would have been a fine and wonderful experience. but for them to be able to take a question to the Lord and then wait for conference, and then in conference hear the answers to those pleadings, those just little simple innocent questions, but to be able to receive the answer like that. And like you said, hadn't even been talked about for 10 years, and boom, there it is, when those two sweet little boys needed that. So I also love that Dean was the one to say something about and say, no, here, let me tell you how this went down. And we can move forward on this. I love it. What a tender experience. And I hope you guys record that, because that will be something really cool to share with your sons when they're older, when they don't really remember the circumstances. Anyway, I loved it. So thank you for sharing. It was very sweet. Lindsay, I feel like you have something else you can share.
Nope. The only thing on my mind right now is I spent all week reading this book, and it was recommended. It was like fine, but it like consumed me, because it was like one of those, you like felt like you just had to keep reading. And so I put like all these things off, because I was like, I have to just finish this book and just get it over with. And then at the end, I just felt like so unfulfilled. Like, what was that all for? Like, it pulled me in more so than like the other reading I've been doing for a while. That's like, slow and deeper. But then it just felt so meaningless and shallow at the end. I was just like, that was a great story, like interesting, and then just nothing. So anyway, I just been like, it was a good contrast to help me see, because it was fun at first, like, oh, this is so fun to get into like a good, captivating story. But then to see, oh, that was just like the junk food. That was fun for a little bit. Now I'm like, okay, I need to like read something really good that's gonna feed my soul a little bit more. So anyway, that was a fun experience. But that was all.
I love that you shared that, because that is so true. That is exactly how it is. But we need to have those experiences also to learn and recognize the contrast, the different ones, heaven and, and good books and beautiful, uplifting, warming things, and not so much. And that was a joke for Melissa. It's heaven and hell. I can say hell because it's a place and it's okay. Funny, Melissa, when you were apologizing for saying it. It's okay. It's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that good, better, best. And this was probably like in the better range. Like it was good. But yeah, it wasn't the best. And I could feel that at the end, like, oh, okay.
Well, and like you said, the other can be slow and harder because it's deeper and we're having to think, Oh, yeah, sorry. And of course, I just said out loud for any of your little people who are listening. I'm sorry, Melissa. Of course, we never say that. It was just, I was making a point. Well, Miss Potty Mouth over here.
This is why I come every Friday.
Well, ladies, yeah, exactly. That's right. That's me. I can do that. I know how to do that. I do it on accident all the time. Anyway, thank you. It's so good to see you here. It's good to see different people, but keeping it all this wonderful group of friends. And then Carolina messaged me to say, I'm so sorry my phone died at the end. I loved this. I've loved hearing from you women. So she really enjoyed it. And then for those of you here that didn't get to see, I got some of us. Well, anyway, there was a picture out there of Cadence and Linnell together, and their two families together. How fun is that? Linnell and her family went to somewhere, Victoria, British Columbia, where? Anyway, to see family, and stopped and saw Cadence and her family on their way. So I love that. I think that's great. I love when some of you mamas get together and connect. So anyway, have a wonderful week. Enjoy yourself. So remember, next Friday, we will not meet at this time, but in the Mighty Networks at 12 Mountain Time. So 11 Pacific time will be our discussion about the chapter for April, the life-giving home. If you don't have it or you don't have access to it, don't worry, come anyway, because the discussion's lovely and you get to know some of this book, which Lindsay loves. I know. You love that book, don't you, Lindsay?
I do. Yep. I
So
haven't read April's yet this month, so I'm excited. I'm going to do that before next week.
yeah. So we'll be able to meet there next week, and then probably the next week will be normal, just from here or home. I don't know where I'll be, but we'll get together anyway. Anyway, thanks for coming. It's been nice to be here with all of you.